All right. This is the Math Models Unit 6, Lesson 9 video on compound interest. There's a formula for compound interest that you can use on the quizzes, tests, and everything. It's on the formula/tables sheet that I'm making. It's right here. It's also in the lesson on the computer down here somewhere, and then they go through a little example in here on what compound interest is. Compound interest is different than simple interest in that it's calculated more than once over the course of a year. It might be done quarterly or monthly or weekly or daily. And the more that interest is compounded, the more money the account will make. So instead of just making that interest one time, it does it over and over again every so often. And so in the problem, we're going to have additional input. So we're still going to have P, which is going to be the value for the initial amount, the amount you're putting into the account or the amount you start with. You still have an R. You still have a T. You can see that's up here. And you can see we're going to be dealing with something that's a little bit more complex. You have a T, which is time. And then you have N, which is new. N is the number of times compounded in one T or in 1 year. So if it's quarterly, we would say that that's 4. And it actually gives you a breakdown of that here. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in the, I'll go ahead and put that in our formula sheets. Let's just put that here just to have it in there. So you can see that we have a variety. If I can get this to move out of the way, maybe I can get this to go together. There we go. Let's make this go together as well. There we go. They're next to each other. So annually, once a year, semi-annually, monthly, weekly, whatever it is, there's a number that goes with it for N. And really, you're just going to be typing this into the formula. So we're going to try to make this as easy as possible using Desmos, but let's look at our problem here first. All right. Teresa invested $450. That's our P. P is the starting amount in a regular savings account that paid compound interest at a rate of R, compounded weekly. That means we're going to use 52 as our N. And then how much was our investment worth in 2 years? That being T. So we have P, R, N, and T all here. So let's start typing this in. And let's look at our formula. So we're going to do P, A equals P. So we're going to do P, just 450 times. So I'm going to put a parentheses. And then the formula says to do 1 plus. So 1 plus. And then R over N. So R was 0.035. Remember, I'm doing, oops, let's go back. 1 plus 0.035 divided by, notice how I did a decimal form like we did in the last lesson, and then divided by N. N is 52. So I'm going to click in this bottom down here, and I'm going to put my 52 right here, 52. And then it's going to be raised to the power of N times T. So 52 times 2. So the way you're going to do that on Desmos is you're going to hit this button right here, or you can hit Shift 6 on your keyboard. But if we click here, it's going to make it an exponent. And we're going to type N, 52, times, oh, and now notice the times went down. We want it to stay. So we're going to make sure that it stays. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to make a parentheses around 52 times 2. So I just want to make sure we understand everything that just happened. 450 is our P, parentheses, 1 plus the rate divided by the N. Close the parentheses, use the exponent button, then in parentheses, do the N and the T together. And so we see that it makes some interest, and the value will be 482.61, or rounded up, 482.62. And we'll see if we have that as our answer. And there it is right there. So I'm going to jump down and do one more example to make sure that we're all kind of understanding how this is going, and make sure you see how to type it in again. So Vincent invested $3,000. That's going to be our P value. Different color here. That's our P value. And then it's a rate of 2.75. It's compounded quarterly, which tells me that that's 4 for my n value. How much is an investment worth in 3 years? That's T. All right, so we have all of our values. We have P, R, N, and T. And so we go back to our calculator, and we know that P comes first. So the value is 3,000, parentheses, 1 plus, then we do the rate, which is 0.275, 0.0275 divided by, excuse me, 4, because there's 4 is the n. So we're going to go down there and hit 4. Close our parentheses. Make sure it closes it out here. Make sure it looks like this. Raise 2. So I'm going to hit this button right here. And then n times t. So 4 times 3. Parentheses, 4 times 3. Again, notice how it's set up. Make sure yours look like this when you type them in. And we get 3,257.08. So let's see. There it is right there. And so I think you should be able to get the rest of these. They're more or less all the same. That is it. So close this video down and do one more, and that'll finish up the unit for us.